The fatal decision, the stellar hegemony had conquered 1,000 worlds across 3 spiral arms of the galaxy. Their fleets moved through space like predators through dark water, unstoppable and merciless. Yet for all their power, they had never touched Earth. The blue planet sat in its quiet corner of the Orion Arm, surrounded by invisible boundaries no empire had crossed for 10,000 years. Admiral Vexar stood before the Grand Assembly, his 4 arms crossed in defiance. The holographic warnings floated around him like ghosts from the past, messages from the Korthian dynasty, the Zalathi Confederation, even the ancient builders themselves. All said the same thing. Earth was forbidden. Earth was death. Earth was a trap that had swallowed every fleet that dared approach. The High Counselor's voice echoed through the chamber. These warnings are relics of superstition. The humans are primitives who barely achieved fusion power a century ago. They hide behind old stories to protect their resources. Admiral Vexar, you will take the Third Armada and bring Earth into our fold. Vexar bowed his scaled head, though doubt gnawed at his warrior's instincts. The warnings were too consistent, too desperate. The Korthians had been a warrior race that feared nothing, yet their last transmission about Earth had been a scream of pure terror. The Zalathi, masters of technology beyond even the hegemony's understanding, had simply vanished after announcing their intent to colonize the human homeworld. 3 weeks later, Vexar's armada dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of Earth's solar system. 50 battle cruisers, 200 destroyers, and 10 planet crackers. Enough firepower to reduce a world to atoms. The tactical displays showed a quiet system. 1 yellow star, 8 major planets, and the target sitting third from the sun. No defensive platforms, no patrol fleets, not even basic orbital stations. It looked helpless. Lieutenant Krex approached with the latest sensor data. Admiral, we're detecting unusual radiation patterns from Earth's magnetosphere. Nothing dangerous, but the readings don't match any known planetary configuration. There's also this. He brought up a frequency analysis. We're picking up a signal. It's not technological. It's coming from the planet itself. Vexar listened to the rhythmic pulse. It sounded organic, like a heartbeat magnified across the cosmos. His scales rippled with unease. The ancient warnings whispered in his mind, but he pushed them aside. The hegemony had given its orders. Send the scout wings, he commanded. Full tactical sweep. I want to know everything about their defenses before we move the main fleet. 12 scout ships accelerated toward Earth, their cloaking fields active, sensors probing every inch of space. Vexar watched their progress from his command throne. They passed the orbit of the 4th planet without incident. Then as they crossed into the space between Mars and Earth, something changed. The lead scout's transmission cut to static. Then the second. Within 30 seconds, all 12 scouts had vanished from the tactical display. No explosions, no debris, fields, no distress signals. They were simply gone. Krex's voice cracked. Admiral, I'm not reading any weapons discharge. No energy spikes. They just stopped existing. Vexar rose from his throne, his combat instincts screaming danger. Full stop on all vessels. Activate maximum shields and begin deep scans of the area where we lost the scouts. The armada halted its advance. For hours, they probed the empty space, finding nothing. No wreckage, no bodies, not even molecular dust. It was as if the scouts had been erased from reality itself. Then the sensors detected movement. Not ships or missiles, but space itself seemed to ripple like water disturbed by an unseen hand. Admiral, we're receiving a transmission, the communications officer announced. It's coming from Earth. Put it through, Vexar ordered. The voice that filled the bridge was human, but there was something else beneath it. Something vast and ancient that made every warrior in the room instinctively reach for their weapons. Greetings, Admiral Vexar of the stellar hegemony. You have ignored the warnings. You have crossed the line. We tried to spare you this fate, but your arrogance has sealed your doom. Earth is not what you think it is. Humanity is not alone. And you are already caught in the web. Vexar snarled. Enough games. We are the hegemony. We have conquered entire sectors. Your primitive world will bow or burn. The voice laughed. But it was not a sound of joy. It was the sound of something that had seen empires rise and fall like waves on a shore. You still don't understand. Look at your navigation systems. Admiral Krex checked the displays and his 6 eyes widened in horror. Admiral, we're moving. The entire fleet is being pulled toward Earth. Our engines are at full reverse, but we're still accelerating toward the planet. Vexar felt his heart skip. That's impossible. Check the gravitational readings. The data that came back defied every law of physics they knew. Earth's gravity well had expanded, reaching out across millions of kilometers to grip the Armada like invisible claws. But it wasn't just gravity. Space-time itself was bending, creating a funnel that drew them inexorably toward the blue world. Fire all weapons, Vexar commanded. Target the planet's surface. If we're going down, we take them with us. The Armada's guns blazed to life. Plasma, beams, antimatter missiles, and kinetic bombardment streaked toward Earth. They traveled halfway before simply disappearing, swallowed by the same nothingness that had taken the scouts. The weapons didn't explode or get intercepted. They ceased to be. The human voice returned, and now Vexar could hear other voices behind it. Thousands, millions, perhaps billions speaking in unison. You cannot harm Earth, Admiral. Earth is not just our world. It is a living shield, a guardian left by those who came before. Every species that evolved here, from the smallest bacteria to humanity itself, is part of its consciousness. We tried to warn you. The trap was not set by us. It was set by the universe itself to protect what grows here. The fleet continued its inexorable slide toward Earth. Vexar watched the blue world grow larger in the viewports. His warriors looked to him for orders, but what could he say? They had walked into a trap older than their civilization, a defense system that operated on principles they couldn't comprehend. Admiral Krex reported, his voice hollow. I'm detecting massive energy signatures from Earth's surface, but they're not technological. They're biological. The entire planet is alive. Vexar understood then. The warnings hadn't been threats or propaganda. They had been mercy. Every empire that had tried to conquer Earth had discovered the same terrible truth. The planet wasn't just inhabited. It was a single, vast organism, and humanity was its newest, symbiotic partner. The humans hadn't developed technology to defend themselves because they didn't need to. Earth itself was their protector. As the Armada crossed the lunar orbit, Vexar made his decision. Open a priority channel to Hegemony Command. Maximum encryption. The connection established, and Vexar spoke his final report. This is Admiral Vexar. Do not send reinforcements. Do not attempt rescue. Earth is not a world. It is an entity beyond our understanding. The humans are not primitives. They are part of something ancient and terrible. Update all star charts. Quarantine this entire sector. Let this be my last warning. Earth is not a trap. It is a predator, and we are already in its jaws. Earth's secret unveiled. The Hegemony Armada hung suspended in Earth's atmosphere, neither falling nor able to escape. For 3 days, they had been frozen in place, their ships wrapped in ribbons of light that pulsed with the planet's heartbeat. Admiral Vexar had stopped trying to break free after the first day. Every attempt only tightened the bonds. Inside his command ship, the crew waited. They were not dead, not imprisoned in any conventional sense, but held like specimens under observation. The air recycled, the lights functioned, even the food processors continued to work. Earth was keeping them alive for a reason. On the 4th day, the humans came. Not in ships or shuttles, but walking through the walls of the vessel as if the metal were mist. 3 of them materialized on the bridge, 2 men and a woman, wearing simple clothes, no armor or weapons. Their eyes held a light that was both human and something infinitely older. The woman spoke first. Admiral Vexar, I am Dr. Sarah Chen, speaker for the Terra Collective. We apologize for the deception, but you needed to understand. May we sit? Vexar nodded slowly, gesturing to the conference area. His warriors tensed, hands on weapons, but he raised a claw to stop them. If the humans meant harm, they would already be dead. Dr. Chen smiled sadly as they sat. You're wondering what we are. The simple answer is that we're human, The complex answer is that we're much more. When humanity first achieved consciousness, we were not alone. Earth itself had been waiting for us. Not as a separate entity, but as part of ourselves we hadn't yet recognized. Lieutenant Krex leaned forward, his scientific curiosity overcoming fear. You're saying Earth is sentient? One of the men, who introduced himself as Marcus, answered, Earth is more than sentient. It's a collective consciousness that exists across dimensions. Every living thing that evolved here shares a connection to it. Bacteria, plants, animals, and eventually humans. We're all neurons in a vast mind that spans realities. Vexar quote. As tactical mind worked through the implications. The disappeared scouts, the vanished weapons, the space-time distortions. You're not bound by normal physics. Dr. Chen nodded. Earth exists in multiple dimensions simultaneously. What you see as a planet is just one facet of something much larger. When threatened, it can shift attacks into parallel realities where they never existed. Your scouts aren't dead, Admiral. They're in timelines where they never entered our system. The third human, an elderly man named Professor Yuki, pulled up, a holographic display with a gesture. The image showed Earth, but not as any scanner had ever revealed it. The planet pulsed with a network of energy that extended through space like a web, touching other worlds, other stars, even other galaxies. 10 billion years ago, Yuki explained, the first ones faced extinction. Their solution was not to build weapons or flee to distant stars. They transformed themselves into something that could never die. They became Earth, and others like it throughout the universe. Guardian worlds that would nurture new life and protect it from the darkness between stars. Krex quote, S6 eyes blinked rapidly. There are others? Hundreds, Dr. Chen confirmed. Each one unique. Each one waiting for its own children to evolve and join the collective. Humanity reached that point 50 years ago. We kept it secret, maintaining the facade of a primitive world to prevent exactly this situation. Vexar felt the weight of his failure. We ignored the warnings. We thought ourselves superior. Marcus leaned back. Every empire thinks that, Admiral. The Corthians, the Zalathi, dozens of others. They all learned the same lesson. Earth doesn't conquer. It teaches. Those who approach with peace are welcomed. Those who come with war are shown why peace is better. But you're holding us prisoner. Krex protested. Dr. Chen shook her head. You're not prisoners. You're students. Earth is offering you a choice. Your empire can continue its path of conquest, never approaching Earth again, and eventually face the same fate as every empire before it. Extinction through expansion, until you meet something you cannot defeat, or you can learn what we learned. That true power isn't in taking, but in joining. Vexar stood, pacing to the viewport where Earth filled the view. Its blue surface swirled with clouds, looking so fragile, yet he now knew it was anything but. You want the hegemony to become part of your collective? Professor Yuki rose to join him. Not our collective, Admiral. The universal collective. Earth is just one node in a network that spans all of existence. Humanity chose to join it, rather than resist. We gained immortality, not of the body, but of consciousness. We gained knowledge, from civilizations that died before our sun was born. We gained purpose beyond mere survival. The bridge fell silent except for the eternal pulse of Earth's heartbeat. Vexar could feel it now, not just hear it. The rhythm matched his own heart's, synchronized with every living thing on his ship. The planet wasn't holding them. It was connecting them. Show me, Vexar said quietly. Dr. Chen approached and placed her hand on his scaled arm. The moment her skin touched his scales, Vexar's mind exploded outward. He saw Earth not as a world but as a living tapestry of consciousness, billions of human minds linked with trillions of other organisms, all part of a single harmonious whole. But beyond Earth, he saw the network. Points of light throughout the galaxy, each one another guardian world, another collective, all connected by threads of thought that transcended space and time. He saw civilizations that had joined the network millennia ago, their knowledge preserved, their consciousness eternal. He saw the Corthians not destroyed but transformed, their warrior spirits now defending life throughout the cosmos. He saw the Zalathi, their technology merged with the network, solving problems that matter and energy alone could never address. And he saw the future, the hegemony at a crossroads. One path led to centuries more of conquest until they met a guardian world they couldn't escape, forcing the choice upon them. The other path led to willing integration, their strength and knowledge added to the collective, their people becoming more than they ever imagined possible. Dr. Chen removed her hand, and Vexar staggered. The vision faded, but the memory remained. He looked at his crew, seeing the question in their eyes. Admiral Kamakrex asked, "What did you see?" Vexar turned back to the humans. "If we agree, what happens to the hegemony?" Marcus smiled. "Nothing and everything. Your worlds remain yours. Your culture, your identity, all preserved. But you gain access to the network. Knowledge, wisdom, and purpose beyond conquest. Your children will grow up knowing they're part of something infinite. Your scientists will have answers to questions they haven't even asked yet. Your warriors will protect life itself rather than destroying it." Dr. Chen added, "The transformation isn't forced or immediate. It happens gradually, as each individual chooses to connect. Some never do, and that's acceptable. Free will is sacred to the network. But most, once they understand what's offered, choose to join." Vexar made his decision. "Release my fleet. Let us return to hegemony space. I will present this to the Grand Assembly." Professor Yuki nodded. "The moment you choose to leave in peace, you're free to go. But Admiral, understand that this offer is made only once. If the hegemony returns with hostile intent, Earth will not be merciful. The network protects itself and all its children." The ribbons of light holding the armada dissolved. The space-time distortion relaxed. For the first time in days, the fleet's engines responded to commands. Vexar could have ordered an attack. His weapons were functional, his warriors ready. But he had seen the truth. Any attack would be futile, and worse, it would doom his people to isolation from something magnificent. "Prepare for withdrawal," he ordered. "Set course for Hegemony Prime." As the fleet turned away from Earth, Dr. Chen's voice came through the communication system one last time. "Admiral Vexar, you've made the wise choice. We'll be waiting when your people are ready. And remember, you're not losing your empire. You're gaining a universe." The armada entered hyperspace, leaving Earth's system behind. But Vexar knew they would return. Not as conquerors, but as pilgrims seeking to join something greater than any empire. The warnings had been real but incomplete. Earth was indeed a trap, but not one that destroyed. It was a trap that transformed predators into protectors, empires into families, and isolation into unity. As he prepared his report for the Grand Assembly, Vexar thought about the choice ahead for his people. Would they cling to the old ways of conquest and domination? Or would they embrace evolution, joining a collective that spanned the stars? He had seen both futures, and only one led to survival. Earth waited patiently in its corner of space, blue and beautiful, dangerous and welcoming. The guardian world had stood watch for billions of years, and it would continue for billions more. Each species that approached would face the same choice: join the network and transcend, or remain isolated and eventually fade. Humanity had made their choice. They had looked at the vast, connected consciousness of Earth and seen not a prison but a promise. They had traded their isolation for integration, their mortality for continuity, their small world for an infinite network of knowledge and experience. Now it was the hegemony's turn to choose. Admiral Vexar would present the truth to the Grand Assembly. He would show them the visions he had seen, explain the nature of the guardian worlds, and offer them the path to transformation. Some would resist, clinging to the old ways of power and conquest, but others would understand. They would see what he had seen. That true strength came not from taking but from joining, not from standing alone but from becoming part of something eternal. The warnings about Earth had been true. It was a trap, but not the kind the ancient empires had believed. It was a trap that caught civilizations at the moment of choice, forcing them to confront their own nature and decide their destiny. Those who chose wisdom over power, unity over isolation, Growth over stagnation found not death but transformation. Earth's secret was unveiled. The Guardian world and its human partners would continue to wait, patient and eternal, for the next visitors to arrive. Each would face the same test, receive the same offer, and make the same crucial choice. And with each species that joined the network, the collective consciousness would grow stronger, wiser, and more capable of protecting life throughout the universe. The galaxy had been warned about Earth, and the warnings were real. But they had never mentioned the hope that came after the fear, the transformation that followed the trap, or the infinite possibilities that awaited those brave enough to let go of conquest and embrace connection.